PlayStation 5 was really impacted by the global supply chain crisis. So Sony was not, for the first few years, able to really produce the level of units that there was demand for. So, really at the second half of 2023, they finally started to be able to produce those levels. And so November was a record month. And so now they're projecting that they'll be on track to at least meet the 100 million unit threshold, and possibly exceed even the PlayStation 4. People who are very knowledgeable in the industry say that roughly Sony outsells Microsoft at a level of 2-to-1, both for PS4 and PS5. PlayStation is a critical part of the whole Sony infrastructure place outside of the studio side of the business, and Sony Electronics, which is here in San Diego. And so this is going to be it's a good news, bad news scenario for Sony. Good news is that there is significant demand for the PlayStation 5, and the challenge is going to be, looking forward, can they contain their costs, and can they have enough content and the right kind of titles to kind of stay as one of the leaders in the space. Well, this is a major issue with the general e-scooter space, or the micromobility space. Bird, filed for bankruptcy this week, and they're looking to sell their assets over the next 90 to 120 days. And Bird is one of the bigger organizations out there. This is a company that was once valued at $2.5 billion, had raised over $300 million, and now is on the verge of basically non-existing. And one of the challenges is that they filed to go public very late. So this is during, they were very successful before the pandemic. The pandemic really kind of rocked this industry substantially, because demand had declined, very, very, very much. Their stock price continued to plunge. In fact, in September, the New York Stock Exchange delisted them because they couldn't maintain a minimum $15 million valuation over a 30-day window. And so one of the challenges that these companies face is, first and foremost, there are very different local municipal rules in every market. So when they left San Diego, Bird and all the other 3 or 4 companies who left at the same time said, look, San Diego has the most stringent rules than any city in the country, or in the world, actually. And then so you have these municipal rules. A lot of these scooters are vandalized. There's a lot of requirements for increased security. And then lastly, one of the challenges that Bird has had in particular is they are facing over 100 personal injury lawsuits, which obviously could be expensive. And so these are things that I'm sure they never even imagined would be part of that process. So, and from a city perspective, you have issues around scooters cluttering city streets, pedestrians that are challenged to be on the same space with these e-scooters. In fact, the city of Paris banned e-scooters for the bulk part of this year, to reduce that level of conflict. So this becomes a real challenge for a company like Bird, because at the same time, if somebody does want to buy them, but they may not have the same exact e-scooter technology that Bird does, and they're going to have to integrate to various fleets. But Bird does have really good presence around the United States, and it does have access to key cities. So we'll see how this progresses over the next 90 to 120 days. It's not the end of it, but it's unfortunate that this sector has taken a big hit.